Hey everybody, today is Friday, October 21st, 2022, and we're here in Spring City, Pennsylvania at the Zion Lutheran Church. Another beautiful church built in 1861. Look at that. Look at where I'm guessing at one point, stained glass windows used to be. They probably had beautiful stained glass windows right there, but for some reason now, they're concreted in. I have no idea why that is the case. Look at these gigantic doors that are literally half the size of the entire building. That is insane. I can see that like smaller doors open up at the bottom, but I wonder if the whole entire door opens up. If it does, that'd be awesome, and I'd love to see that. So built in 1861, absolutely beautiful 1800s church. That is amazing. But I wanted to bring you guys out here today to show you something interesting and also talk to you guys about the confusingness that is history, because I'm getting some very mixed signals when it comes to churches that were used as Revolutionary War hospitals. So we took a look at another church, an old German Reformed church, I believe it was the East Vincent Church, that was supposedly used as a Revolutionary War hospital back in the winter of 1777 into 1778 after the Battle of Brandywine. I told you guys all about this, and that's why at the bottom of the hill there's actually a cemetery for 22 unknown Revolutionary War soldiers. But I'm getting a very similar story when it comes to this church here also being used as a hospital. Now, I'm not saying this church wasn't used as a hospital, but the story between the other church and this church are almost identical. And it makes me wonder if like maybe some history is getting confused somewhere, because somebody actually left a comment on one of my videos, on one of my postings actually on Facebook, on a historical group, saying that they used to be a park ranger at Valley Forge. And here's a little bit more information. They were saying that supposedly the other church was not used as a hospital, and those men were buried there because they died on the way from Valley Forge to go to another actual Revolutionary War hospital that someday we're actually going to go out and take a look at the remains of. But very confusing. I have no idea. I'm going by what I've read from the actual historical societies from the area, and they claim the other church was definitely used as a Revolutionary War hospital, which would make sense to me because, again, there are men buried right at the bottom of the hill, and there was definitely a German Reformed church there at the time when those men were buried there. So that would make complete sense to me. But you're about to see that supposedly this church was also used as a Revolutionary War hospital, which also could be the case. There could have been many hospitals used many churches used as hospitals because, well, there were a lot of men who were hurt and dying and sick. Again, disease was quite rampant at the time, so that could definitely be the case. But it is still rather confusing when it comes to history. How much is actually true? So take everything I always say in these videos with a grain of salt. Never take everything I say as the gospel, as they say. Take it, again, like I said, with a grain of salt, because the history I try to give you guys is history I have looked up, history I have read about, but it could possibly be wrong, because over time, over all these decades and all these centuries later, history can become a little skewed. Depending on who tells you the history, they can skew it to what they want it to be. If this church wants to be a little bit more popular, maybe they can say, yeah, we were totally used as a Revolutionary War church. Who knows? But maybe they were a Revolutionary War hospital. Maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. History can be skewed. Things getting passed down over generations can become wrong. Maybe the other church wasn't used and this church was, or this church wasn't and the other church was, and they got it mixed up because these churches are actually only a couple miles away from each other. So you never know. So take everything I say, like I said, in these videos with a grain of salt. I'm going by what I've read on websites and things I've read in books and things I've heard and whatnot. And I try to go by historical information from historical societies and from actual people who supposedly know what they're talking about. But you never know. So a little confusing when it comes to all these different churches being used as Revolutionary War hospitals. I'm just going to assume that they all were used as Revolutionary War hospitals from soldiers who were hurt and wounded in the Battle of Brandywine, and then making their way this way, camping in this area, getting sick from camping because, again, it was a brutal winter, disease was rampant, and then making their way down this road right here into Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where they actually camped during the 1777, 1778 winter, getting ready for the war that would continue on. But as you can see right here, this monument marks the site upon which originally stood Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church, which was used by the Revolutionary War soldiers as a hospital during the winter of 1777 to 1778. Here, Washington in person visited the sick and wounded and ministered to their needs. Look at that. So erected in 1914. This plaque here was erected in 1914, and apparently the original log cabin, the original log church, again, just like at the other location that supposedly was a log structure. This is where things get confusing to me, because the stories are so incredibly similar, which again could be the case. I'm sure a lot of structures around here at the time were made of logs, so it just could happen to be that the stories between these two churches are very similar stories. But the log structure that originally was here, the original log church that was here, was apparently built in 1775 from what I read. So pretty interesting, and a really interesting cemetery as well. There are a lot of very old graves here, including, again, some more Revolutionary War soldiers, which is quite interesting. But look at these graves. I'm thinking when I pass, I was always thinking about what kind of like tombstone I would get. Unfortunately, where I'm going to be buried, as of right now anyway, I mean, I do actually have a cemetery plot that I purchased, and that cemetery plot doesn't do tombstones like this. They do those flat markers, so you can just mow right over them. It's the laziness of a graveyard, of a cemetery, unfortunately. But we don't have cool headstones like this. But I was always thinking, if I could have a headstone, what kind of headstone would I want? And I always thought maybe in the shape of something or whatnot, but I think I want something just kind of standard and old school looking. In fact, there's one back here that unfortunately has fallen down that I walked past, and I think that's what I would want, something like that. I'll show that to you guys in a bit. Look at this cherub right here on this one. I love the carvings on these tombstones. They are awesome. This one here has been like nicked up or something. You can barely read what these say, but many of these date back to the 1700s as well. So many graves in here dating back all the way to the 1700s. This one's looks like 45, possibly. George Miller. Look at this one. This one has, is it a cherub riding? What do you guys know what that is? Let me know. What is this? Looks like a cherub riding like an eagle or something, or a horse. Not entirely sure what that is. Elizabeth, born in 1797, died 1863. Maybe is what that says. Very hard to read. Look at these. I always love the ones that actually have the planters in them. Those are so cool. Unfortunately, I've never actually seen an old grave with the planters, actually with the planters being used. They always have weeds growing out of them. One of these days, I would love to see one of those that actually have the flowers growing out of them. That'd be so awesome. Look at this one. Again, 1800s. These are really awesome tombstones. These are so cool. I'm definitely digging these. Like I said, there was a Revolutionary War, at least one Revolutionary soldier from what I saw actually buried here. Maybe possibly two. They're up here. No, there's two. Looks like there's two Revolutionary War soldiers buried right up here. Look at this grave. This grave you can actually like see into, which is a little disturbing. Like you can see the vault. I'm sure I'm not going to do it. I'm sure I put the camera in there because I would probably drop the camera. You can probably see into there. It's kind of disturbing. That is a little creepy. I don't like when the graves are exposed like that. But Revolutionary War soldier, as you can see by the marker, right here. I can show that to you. Maybe possibly. There we go. Looks like did not actually pass away during the war. They passed away. Trying to find. Let's see. Born in 1744, passed away in 1823. So didn't pass away during the Revolutionary War. This is Henry, right next to his wife, Susanna. Look at that. And then there's another Revolutionary War soldier buried right here as well. This one, though, unfortunately, you cannot read. This one has been completely worn away. You can see at one point there was something carved into here. You cannot see that anymore. But I was saying, when it comes to a tombstone, what I would like is something like this. This is such a standard looking old tombstone. When you think of an old graveyard with old tombstones, this is what comes to my mind. Something kind of standard like this, that typical tombstone shape with a very typical like carving on the front. This is George Christman, born in 1793, passed away in 1866 at the age of 72 years, 8 months, and 8 days. I like how it has the actual months and days. Lets you know exactly how old they were when they passed away. That is interesting. I love this tombstone here. That is the tombstone I want when I pass away, if I could have a tombstone in my cemetery. Maybe I'll buy a new plot at some point. Maybe I'll move to a different area and buy a plot somewhere else. Maybe not. That's a lie. I would kind of want to be buried next to my father, who's out here. I will probably most likely be buried out here. But anyway, look at this. More weeds. I mean, there's some flowers, but I think those flowers are weed flowers. But anyway, guys, so I wanted to bring you out here, show you yet another cemetery with Revolutionary War, completely different war. The Revolutionary War soldiers still buried in it, and apparently another church that was used as a Revolutionary War hospital. And then also want to tell you guys about how history can be skewed and can be confusing. And I'm pretty sure from what I've read, both the church I showed you the other day and this church right here, both of them used as Revolutionary War hospitals during the Revolutionary War in the winter of 1777 into 1778. After the Battle of Brandywine, after George Washington and his men fought at the Battle of Brandywine, made their way out to this area. Again, they were sick, they were diseased, they were wounded, they were hurt, they needed some help. They used the other church, and apparently this church as well at some point. I don't know when, I don't know if they used that one church and then made their way to this church, or they were using both churches. I'm not entirely sure. And then right down the road, down that way, maybe a 15-minute or so drive down that way, is actually Valley Forge, where the men did camp over the winter of 1777 into 1778. Brutal winter, crazy winter, lots of rampant disease. But anyway, guys, that is it. Wanted to bring you out here, wanted to show you this. Like I said, according to what I'm telling you, what I've read, both churches were used. We're just going to take it as that. But it is history. History can be skewed. History can be wrong. You never know. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, but the salt I'm sprinkling right now says both churches used as Revolutionary War hospitals. So I wanted to bring you out to another one, show you some more Revolutionary War graves. We've been having a Revolutionary War week this week. I've taken you out to so many different Revolutionary War places, and there are more out here. Again, we're right by Valley Forge. A lot of the Revolutionary War happened right here in this area, and I've got some more stuff to show you in the not too distant future. Maybe even next week we'll go out and see some more Revolutionary War areas. Look at this one. It's a really awesome obelisk. That is cool. Elizabeth M. Rhodes, passed away 1890. All right, guys, like I said, that's going to do it, though. So I wanted to bring you out here, show you this. So as always, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check down below for links to Patreon. If you guys do become a patron, I will send you a postcard every single month on the road. Also check down below for a link to Spreadshirt. This one. Where you can grab yourself Retro Rest Stop t-shirts. Proceeds both from Spreadshirt and from Patreon do good help putting gas in Vanabelle and inside pumpkins so we can come out to fun, interesting. I'm going to call it a fun. This is fun to me. I love seeing this up. I'm going to say, even though it's a cemetery, it is a fun, interesting place because I find history fun, and cemeteries are full of history. So we can come out to fun, interesting places like this. So hit that subscribe button. If you guys are subscribed or you do subscribe, I will see you in tomorrow's video. All right, guys, again, Zion Lutheran Church here, Spring City, Pennsylvania. Awesome, giant-sized church. Not this one. This church here was not used as a Revolutionary War hospital church. That was apparently right here on this spot. Old wooden log cabin type structure, but still 1861 church. Pretty awesome. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. So thanks for watching. Like I said, hit all the buttons. I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.